Hey, what's up everyone? Pete the Guttural Monk here. This is my first video of 2018, and I still have a small stack of 2017 stuff that I'd like to share with you guys before the year progresses even further. I'm going to try to blow through these pretty quickly, so let's get started. This is Droid with Terrestrial Mutations. Droid is out of Canada. This album was released on Nightbreaker Productions. Droid is probably sick and tired of being compared to a band like Vector at this point in their career, but they do play a very similar style of technical thrash metal. This album is a fucking gem of modern thrash in my opinion. Riffs on riffs, songwriting is fantastic. The way it plays through is awesome. Super sci-fi driven and nerdy. I fucking love it. So check it out if you are a fan of any kind of thrash, technical death metal. Droid, Terrestrial Mutations, really fucking solid stuff. This next album I loved when I streamed it for the first time. Took me a while to finally come around to a physical copy of it, but I'm super glad that I did so. This is Fellwarden with Oathbreaker. Atmospheric black metal. To me, it's composed a lot like the album Bergtot from Ulver. Just the way it kind of has those melodic passages with the clean vocals, kind of merging with the harsh vocals, just the play through, the composition of the songs, the composition of the album overall, very similar to something like that. Regardless, it's a fucking beautiful piece of atmospheric black metal. If you're not familiar with it, you should be. This is out on Eisenwald Productions, Fellwarden with Oathbreaker. Next up, this band doesn't need any kind of introduction. I don't even know what number album this is for them, but this is Incantation with Profane Nexus out on Relapse Records. Really killer stuff. Gotta give Incantation a lot of credit. I think this is one of the best of their modern era albums, and between Incantation and Immolation, those two bands that are veterans in the death metal genre, they released top-notch, fucking high-quality albums in 2017, so props to them for doing that. Incantation, Profane Nexus, really excellent stuff. Next up, this is Necrot with Blood Offerings. These guys are really doing old school death metal justice with this album. This is out on Tank Crimes. Really apologizing for the glare there, but this is a fucking awesome piece of modern old school death metal. Done very well. Riffs are excellent. Songwriting is fucking fantastic. Necrot, Blood Offerings. You've probably seen it on a lot of year-end lists at this point. It totally deserves to be there. Check that one out. This one I fell in love with back in like February or March of 2017. Kind of slept on picking up the LP version of it. Passed on the cassette version a couple times. Was beyond happy to realize that Nuclear War Now was finally putting out this album on CD towards the very end of December. This is Perverted Ceremony with Sabbat of Behezael. This is worth every fucking ounce of praise that this band and this album has gotten this year. This is a fucking awesome piece of disgusting, I don't want to say lo-fi, but like raw black metal that doesn't sound like screaming into a hairdryer in a wind tunnel. The production does this such justice. The way that the bass and the guitar are recorded are completely audible. The riffs are beyond fantastic, and the way everything kind of comes together is just fucking magical in a way. Dark, ugly, fucking disgusting, evil sounding shit. And it also includes the self-titled Perverted Ceremony 12-inch that was released at the end of the year also as bonus tracks at the end of this one. This will appear on my Albums of the Year list, and if you haven't done so, you need to check this one out. Perverted Ceremony, Sabbat of Behezael, two-man black metal that is honestly a breath of fresh air in the world of, you know, lo-fi or raw black metal right now. Next up, these guys are out of Norway, I believe. Their self-titled debut album a couple of years back kind of blew my mind, got me. Actually, that was probably the album that got me completely obsessed with doom metal for the last couple of years. When I heard these guys were putting out a second album, I was beyond excited. I had no idea that it was going to live up to my expectations and even exceed them, because I like this album even more than the album that got me hooked on them. I'm talking about Purple Hill Witch. This is Celestial Cemetery. I am so fucking enthralled with this album. The opening track, Ghouls in Leather, is probably one of my most spun tracks of the entire year, and this album only came out in like October or September or something like that. Took a long time for a stateside release. I don't even think it was technically released in the US, but it took a long time for a copy to finally make its way to me. But I couldn't be happier about this one. This is another one that is absolutely going to appear on my Albums of the Year list. And if you haven't heard it and you're a fan of any kind of doom metal, this is an absolute must. A lot of Sabbath comparisons, which are justified, I guess, but this transcends Sabbath. This goes far beyond what Sabbath did. This is so much more dark and evil and occult sounding. The riffs, the grooves, everything about this one. The vocals are super unique, and I can see how a couple people may have issues with that, but I think this totally works. It's upbeat when it has to be. It fucking pummels you and crushes you with those heavy, slow, plodding doom riffs when it has to. This is some well-rounded shit. Love this stuff. Purple Hill Witch, Celestial Cemetery. It's out on the Church Within Records. Check that shit out if you haven't done so. Next up is a band whose debut full length of Terror and the Supernatural, I think it was called, in like 2015, fucking blew my mind. Excellent death doom. This is no exception. This is Temple of Void with Lords of Death. This is out on Shadow Kingdom Productions. Kind of following the same footprint as the debut album, although progressing on that sound a little bit. Some excellent Paolo Girardi artwork going on here as well. Can't say enough good things about Temple of Void. They really fucking kick ass. Check out Lords of Death if you haven't done so already. Next up is a band whose debut album blew my fucking mind in probably the same year. Theirs was self-titled. This is Vampire out of Sweden. This one is called With Primeval Force. Comes in this super fucking awesome, massive fold-out digi. This was released on Century Media. Really fucking awesome stuff. Thrashing death metal. Loads and loads of riffs on this one. It doesn't quite have that same aggressive nature as the self-titled album did that got me hooked on this band instantly. The EP that followed that full-length, Sumerian Shade, was fucking just as awesome and aggressive. This one it's not playing it safe. Playing it safe is the wrong fucking way to describe it, but it is a little bit more, I guess, tame. But regardless of which, definitely check it out. Vampire with Primeval Force, really fucking excellent release from them. This last 2017 full-length is one that I saw on way too many albums of the year list to ignore. I put this one off through the entire year, basically. Saw it on a bunch of blogs, read a bunch of write-ups, but the style just never seemed like it was going to click with me. I love speed metal, I love thrash metal, I love aggressive shit. Something about the just overwhelming talk of 80s nostalgia was like, okay, like I dig it, I get it, I've heard bands like that, but I'm going to listen to Scanner, I'm going to listen to Sodom, I'm going to listen to Razor. I don't need to, listen to what this band interprets it as. Fucking wrong. Dead ass wrong. This is Vulture with the Guillotine. Specifically want to thank Scourge of Vinyl and Canyon Pickle for putting this one so high up on their albums of the year list. Those two mentioning this one and with the praise that they give it just made me say, all right, I really need to, I need to, adjust my thinking and finally give it a shot, and I'm super glad that I did. I wish I spent more time with it. Yeah, absolutely killer stuff. I'm gonna give it a speed metal tag. Thrash metal close second. And it also contains the best band photo of the year. I mean, that's just fucking pure artwork right there. Love it. The Guillotine Vulture out on HR Records. Check this shit out if you haven't done so. Completely deserving of the hype that it's gotten towards the end of the year. Love it. Can't wait to continue to spin it into this year. I've got 3 reissues. One I picked up by accident. I kind of have this issue with buying some of my favorite albums in as many different editions as I can possibly find. So this is no exception. This is Emperor self-titled with Wrath of the Tyrant. I bought this on eBay for a sick price, something like $6 or something like that. And it was listed as a 2007 Candlelight / Spine Farm reissue. Alright, cool. I didn't own that one. Whatever. Fucking comes to me in the mail, and I'm super stoked about it. It's one of my favorite EPs of all time, and it turns out that it's a 2017 press, and I had no idea about it, and I was stoked because I get to actually share with you guys. There's so many fucking albums that end up going in here throughout the year that I don't share with you guys. This would have been one of them, but it turns out that it's actually a current repress. So here it is, Emperor, Wrath of the Tyrant, with the self-titled Emperor EP, which is one of my favorite EPs of all time. If for some reason you're watching this channel and you're not familiar with this, stop what you're doing and just check this out. It's as classic as black metal gets. Next up is one that I was beyond excited about when I found out that it was being reissued. Amazon kind of fucked me on it, to be honest with you, because I pre-ordered it at a great price, and then it turns out that they weren't able to get stock on it. So, you know, months go by, and I didn't end up scoring a copy of it, but it finally came through. This is Gates of Ishtar with a blood red path. And unfortunately, I'm ignorant to the rest of their discography because I only really know and love this album. And they've reissued 2 others this year, and I should check them out, and eventually I will check them out. But this is melodic death metal with a little bit of black metal flair going on to it. I love the catchiness of the riffs going on in this one. An awesome old school album. I believe these guys are, I want to say Sweden, I'm probably wrong, but they have a Swedish sound going on about them. But check them out if you haven't done so. I want to say the original came out in like 94, 95, possibly 96, not really sure. But check it out. Excellent old school stuff that was reissued in 2017. Sorry. This last one is one that I couldn't be more excited about. I never thought I would actually own a copy of this one, even a reissue, because the last time it was reissued, it was super limited, and now you can find them for fucking ungodly amounts of money, which I hate, but that's another topic for another day. This is Gorman with The Ending Quest. This is one of the best and obscure old school death metal albums of all time. I never thought I would own a copy of this one. This was reissued through Century Media, I want to say in October, and it was not a US reissue. I want to say this was an Italian reissue, limited to 2,000 copies. If you're a fan of old school death metal and you don't have a copy of this one, grab it now. It's still out there. It comes with this awesome patch. It's an iron-on patch, pretty sweet. Great packaging, glossy as shit, hand numbered. Yeah, one of my favorite old school death metal albums of all time. That I couldn't be happier to finally own it in my collection. That's all I got for 2017 stuff. Anything else from 2017? I know I have a couple still on the way. I'll just back end to another video. I'm not going to do a whole separate video on 2017 stuff. There's a lot of great 2018 releases coming out soon. I would like to eventually dive into my collection and show you guys some of the stuff that makes its way in there in between these current release updates. But time permitting, I'll see if I can get to that. I'm not making any more fucking promises that I can't live up to. But that's all I got for right now, guys. Cheers. Thanks for subscribing. I do appreciate it.